The Wendigo legend was born in the deep, frozen forests of North America, home to the Algonquian-speaking peoples. These woods, both beautiful and harsh, shaped a culture where survival depended on community and sharing. In the brutal winters when food was scarce and isolation was deadly, the Wendigo became a warning whispered around campfires. This was no simple ghost story. It was a lesson about the dangers of greed and selfishness. The Wendigo personified the fear of starvation and the darkness that can grow in the human heart when desperation sets in. It reminded everyone that survival depended on generosity, not hoarding. The legend served as a moral compass, guiding people to put the group before themselves. The northern forests, with their biting cold and endless silence, were as much a part of the story as the monster itself. The Wendigo was the embodiment of winter's cruelty, a monster born from hunger and isolation. To understand the Wendigo, you must understand the world where the line between life and death was razor thin. Its chilling cry was a reminder: the greatest danger comes from forgetting our duty to others. The Wendigo is a terrifying figure in Algonquian folklore, a spirit or monster cursed with endless hunger for human flesh. Its name means, the evil spirit that devours mankind. The legend warns that those who resort to cannibalism, or are consumed by greed, risk becoming a Wendigo themselves. Gaunt, skeletal, and towering, the Wendigo is always starving, its skin stretched tight over its bones, eyes glowing with hunger. It moves silently through the forest, sometimes mimicking human voices to lure victims away. The Wendigo brings unnatural cold and blizzards, embodying the harshest aspects of winter. But it's more than a monster, it's a symbol of imbalance and excess. Its endless hunger is a metaphor for greed, not just for food but for power and control. The story enforced the importance of generosity and community, warning that selfishness leads to ruin. For the Algonquian peoples, the Wendigo was a constant reminder: put others first, or risk becoming a monster yourself. The legend's true horror lies in what it reveals about human nature. The Wendigo legend was so powerful, it shaped real fears, what outsiders called Wendigo psychosis. Some believed that, under extreme hunger, a person could become obsessed with cannibalism, and fear turning into a Wendigo. Communities took this seriously, with spiritual leaders performing ceremonies to save the afflicted. The most infamous case was Swift Runner, a Cree trapper who, during a brutal winter, killed and ate his family, claiming Wendigo possession. His story shocked both indigenous communities and settler communities, blurring the line between myth and reality. The fear of the Wendigo acted as a social control, reinforcing the taboo against cannibalism, even in desperate times. The legend provided a way to understand the psychological toll of starvation and isolation. It's a grim reminder of how folklore can shape, and sometimes explain, the darkest corners of human behavior. When European settlers arrived, they heard the Wendigo stories but misunderstood their meaning. Stripping away the legend's moral lessons, settlers recast the Wendigo as a simple monster, like a werewolf or vampire. They added new features: antlers, fur, a more beastly look, losing the original message about human greed and transformation. The Wendigo became a symbol of the wild frontier, used to justify fears of the wilderness and its people. Settlers often dismissed the legend as superstition, missing its role as a sophisticated moral guide. Over time, the Wendigo's image in popular culture drifted far from its roots. Within indigenous communities, the original stories remain, but the wider world knows only the horror creature. The Wendigo's journey shows how stories change, and what can be lost when they cross cultures. In modern times, the Wendigo has become a staple of horror fiction, movies, and games. Stories like Algernon Blackwood's The Wendigo and Stephen King's Pet Sematary reimagine the creature as a force of supernatural terror. TV shows and films often depict it as a monstrous predator, focusing on scares rather than the legend's deeper meaning. Some works, like the film Antlers, try to reconnect the Wendigo to themes of environmental destruction and human greed. Video games like Until Dawn feature Wendigos as terrifying antagonists transformed by cannibalism. While these adaptations keep the legend alive, they often overlook its original warnings about community and excess. The Wendigo is now a pop culture monster, but its true lessons are rarely told. Despite its transformation in pop culture, the Wendigo's original meaning endures in indigenous communities. Elders still share the legend to teach the dangers of selfishness and the importance of balance with nature. Today, the Wendigo is also a metaphor for modern greed, an economy that devours resources without restraint. Scholars study the legend for its insights into human psychology and social values. The Wendigo is more than a monster, it's a warning about what happens when we lose our humanity. Its story reminds us to care for each other and the world around us. The chilling cry of the Wendigo still echoes, a timeless lesson against the dangers of endless hunger,